So welcome back to our cognitive distortion thinking part 3. I'm sorry I keep getting cut off early. It's not like giving me a countdown anymore. So if I do get cut off early, I apologize in advance. So we are left off on personalization. So this personalization is distortion where a person believes that everything others do or say is some kind of direct personal reaction to them. So they literally take virtually everything personally, even when something is not meant in that way. A person who experiences this kind of thinking will also compare themselves to others, trying to determine who's smarter, better looking, or etc. So meaning like it's kind of like the world. They have this thinking where the world revolves around them. That everything is just. It's another like kind of like drama queen and king scenario too. So a person engaging in personalization may also see themselves as the cause of some unhealthy external events that they were not responsible for. This is also another common distorted thinking for someone under stress as well. For example, we are late to the dinner party and caused everyone to have a terrible time. If I had only pushed my husband to leave on time, this wouldn't have happened. So me, how like this person is internalizing how like they are the cause of everyone's terrible time at this dinner because they were late, and the only reason why is because the husband didn't leave on time. So that's like kind of an example of a personalization. Number 7 is control fallacies. So meaning this distortion involves two different but related beliefs about being in complete control of every situation in a person's life. In the first, if we feel externally controlled, we see ourselves as helpless, a victim of fate. So this is kind of the victimization thinking. It's like, why me? Everything always happens to me. For example, I can't help it if the quality of the work is poor. My boss demanded I worked overtime on it. So me, like they don't take their responsibility and why their work is poor, but they blame like an outside source, such as their boss. The fallacy of internal control, meaning has an assuming responsible for the pain and happiness of everyone around us. For example, why aren't you happy? Is it because something I did? So that's an example like why they're basing someone's happiness as the cause of an action that person did. The fallacy of fairness. So in the fallacy of fairness, a person feels resentful because they think that they know what is fair, but other people won't agree with them. So as our parents, caregivers, teachers, etc. has taught us when we're growing up, and something doesn't go our way, they always say, oh, life isn't fair. We kind of always hear this. So people who go through life applying a measure rule against every situation, judging as fairness, will often feel resentful, angry, and even hopelessness because of it. So it's like, even though like we know that life isn't fair, that some people have different upbringings or different privileges over others, so we always have like, oh, this isn't fair. So because life isn't fair, things will not always work out in a person's favor, even when they should. So it's like always this kind of battle of like why like life should be fair, but in a world where it's not fair. So that's why we have these, some people have feelings of resentful and anger and even hopelessness, and it causes their thinking. Blaming. So when a person engages in blaming, they hold other people responsible for the emotional pain. They may also take the opposite track, and instead of blaming themselves for every problem, even those clearly outside of their control. So, for example, stop making me feel bad about myself. Nobody can make us feel any particular way. Only we have control over our own emotions and emotional reaction. So we don't like take our ownership of our problems. We kind of put the blame on other people or other outside sources, which it could be true. There might be some sources that are playing into that effect, but at the end of the day, we're control of our own emotions and our emotional reactions. Shoulds. So the should statements: I should pick up after myself more, or I should exercise more, or I should eat